What's up, guys? Welcome, Crypto FUD. Let's jump right into this. All right, so taking it back to the early days of the Crypto FUD channel, which technically we are about to have an anniversary. I did start the channel almost 1 year ago, December of last year, 2022. So it's been a very fun ride for the last year, and I can't wait to see what this next year brings, for the channel and for all of us, in the whole crypto community. So with that being said, the reason why I bring that up is one of the first videos that I actually was making was, I believe, maybe not the exact first, but it possibly was MMF. If you guys are not new to the channel and you've been around since day one, MMF has always been a big project that I've always believed in, and I still do. Obviously, we're speaking of DeFi. We've gone from mainstream crypto, now we're going to the back alleys of DeFi, and that's where it gets nitty and gritty, but there's a lot of money to be made on DeFi. And I personally, this is where I like to really grind, is in my DeFi, because this is where you get into projects that haven't made it mainstream to those major exchanges, and you have a possibility of making massive amount of money. The percents on DeFi compared to the big major projects, they don't even compare a lot of times, right? I always, before I even get into it, I always, I'm not giving out financial advice, but I always, preach that you should have secure investments like Bitcoin and, some of the bigger major projects, because they're going to steadily move up. They're not going to move up as fast, but they're going to move up. And that's where you want to have, you want to make sure you have money in that, but also you want to make sure that you're trying to get into some of these projects that are small, like I said, not mainstream, that could potentially get mainstream one day, and you're already in them, right? Because that's what you want to do. That's what happened with Shiba. That's what happened with Pepe. It's happened with a lot of, not just meme coins, but a lot of major projects that actually are out now that were only DeFi, just 5 years ago. And obviously, most of these are Ethereum based tokens. We're going to go over to the CRONOS ecosystem, and that's where it leads us to where we're at right now. So MMF, if you're not familiar with it, is a big swap on the CRONOS. This is crypto.com's native token. This is where you're going to use Crow for all your swapping needs, and you would go to like an MMF platform, which would be in your DeFi wallet for your crypto.com, and you can swap over. MMF also runs off of Matic and Arbitrum. So they're on three different ecosystems. I believe they're native to CRONOS, though. They started off on CRONOS, if I'm not mistaken. So let's get out of all that gossip and let's talk about, some price actions for MMF. So MMF has, seen a nice run recently, right? As a lot of projects, but the reason why MMF particularly, and I'm going to go also and look at a couple things, but if we're going to look at MMF, we have to watch Crow, right? Because Crow is what is driving the whole CRONOS DeFi and a lot of these DeFi projects. And if you want to even get into it, what's driving Crow? Well, what's driving Crow is Bitcoin. Crow's going to kind of follow what Bitcoin's doing. It hasn't necessarily been following it, but now that Bitcoin's really been running, past 38,000, Crow finally woke up. So right here, you just go back to, or this was what, October 23rd, October the 10th, I'm sorry. So you go back 5-6 weeks ago, right? Crow was under 5 cents. Crow was sitting there under 5 cents. And when it just woke up out of nowhere, Bitcoin started really rallying. It jumped up 123% up to about almost 11 cents is where it topped out, right? We bounced right here perfectly at the 236 fib, and we have been kind of retracing, but nothing crazy. It's been kind of staying up, holding strong around that 8 to 9 cent mark. I would say in between 8 and 10 cents is where it's been bouncing. Right now, it's currently sitting at around 9 cents, a little over 9 cents. And the only reason why I speak of Crow is because if Crow's doing good, you're going to see MMF doing great. MMF, you go back here, this was a fraction of a penny. And I don't know if anybody knows the history on MMF. I'm sure some of you guys do, but MMF at a time was up to, I think, like $2 or $3. So the fact that it's at a fraction of a penny, they haven't added any more into circulation. The market cap is down to $5 million. This thing has the potential to really, really, make some big moves whenever DeFi and everything jumps back up. If you look, almost the exact same movement. So this on the top, this local top was at 130% move from where it was at this local bottom. And if you look, remember, Crow was 123%. So they are kind of moving in parallel with each other, right? So that's why I stress you, if you want to really watch how DeFi is going to do on Crow or on the CRONOS network, you're going to want to watch Crow. You're going to want to keep your eye on Crow. If you see Crow actually drop down right now, Crow's still at a decent price, but if you're able to catch Crow, at like maybe a drop down here at like 7 or 6 cents, if you're in this DeFi network and you're potentially going to be, making moves, it wouldn't be a bad idea to stack up on Crow, because remember, in order for you to get into these projects, you have to swap your Crow, or you can always swap USDC, a stable coin. But if you can get Crow at, let's just throw it out there, if you can get Crow at 5 or 6 cents, and then maybe 6 months down the road, Crow's at 10 cents, you're going to have double the Crow to buy into some of these projects, right? Right now, MMF is sitting at about it's sitting at a little over a half a penny right now, right? It's kind of just holding strong. It had this big run. It did see some little cool off periods, but it's really just been holding strong, waiting to see what's going to happen. I will say, if we jump into the DeFi, the whole DeFi for CRONOS, the volume has dropped considerably, right? There was a big run about last week or 2 weeks ago where 24-hour period DeFi for CRONOS was at like around $20 million. You can see now we're around $3 million. So it has kind of slowed down, but there hasn't been a massive sell-off. There just has been less volume coming into DeFi right now, because I think a lot of people are just kind of waiting to see what's going on. A couple projects that I did want to point out now that we're looking is this Corgi AI. This Corgi AI, I am so mad at myself. I was looking at this thing probably about a month ago, right? And I was like, man, I know DeFi is going to eventually explode here soon. I was looking right here when it was just like dead. And I was like, Corgi, this was when Corgi, you had to like search for it. It wasn't even really on the radar. And I was like, I should watch this. Well, wake up one day, 2 weeks ago, and this thing's up 3,000%. 3,000%. This thing jumped up. I was like, oh my gosh, hindsight 2020, obviously, but I was just like really kicking myself, because one of those projects that I looked at and I was like, this is probably going to be a big DeFi project. Well, I missed the boat on that one. But one thing I didn't miss the boat on is, if you guys know about MMF, then you possibly know about MShare. MShare runs correlated with MMF. A token that I honestly love. MMF in its high day was like $20,000. Right now, it's currently trading at around $18. The market cap's only at $1 million. That's what I was trying to say, guys. Some of these projects are like micro projects that during the bull run, I believe it's going to really, really do good. MMF, I was able to catch it around $14. Like I said, it's sitting around 18. It's been kind of spiking up to like $20, $22 here and there, but it's been holding strong. Another project that was just sitting dormant just 2 weeks ago at like around $4, and it shot up to around $35. So MMF, again, another project. And if you notice the trend for all the DeFi that we just checked out, for Corgi, for Crow, for MMF, they all have this exact same move and it was because Crow shot up 2 weeks ago. You guys remember Bitcoin, was at like 27,000, and then it just shot up to like 32 or whatever it was. I don't really remember the numbers. Maybe it was a little higher, but Bitcoin had a day where it was up 4,000. Next day it was up another 1,500, and that's what caused this momentum. And I've been saying this, I haven't said it in a while because we haven't covered DeFi, but how DeFi works is whenever we get into a bull market, the money starts overflowing. Like, think of like a cup where the water's getting filled up. That's the regular, all the major projects for crypto. And then eventually that cup starts to overflow. And that's the money that's going to start pouring into DeFi. Right now, the market's still, we're doing good, but it's still, we haven't hit it that bull market yet. It's just giving you little teasers of what's going to possibly happen when we do get into this bull market. And these little runs right here are going to be nothing compared to what it's going to be when we're fully in a bull market. This thing is a lag effect for DeFi. It doesn't exactly, Bitcoin right now, if it shot up to 60 grand, DeFi wouldn't really, it would move, but it wouldn't move like it's going to. It would take a few months, maybe a few weeks, a few months for the crypto market to really look solid, and then you start seeing this massive money coming into DeFi, and then you see how we have these days where it's only $3 million. These things will jump up to 30, 40, 50, $100 million in a day, and these projects that are only worth $1 million are going to see volume that they haven't seen in 2 years. So that's how it works. So pretty much I'm going to leave it there. MMF is looking great. MMF is looking strong. I think this project's really going to do great during the DeFi. We'll have to see. Just be careful out there because DeFi is very risky. It's the wild, wild west. Anybody can make a coin on these DeFi platforms, and they basically will make it look good, or they'll mimic another project that's out right now, and they can easily pull out all the liquidity fast. So you have to be very careful. I would say do your research. Make sure you look. I'm on Dex. I'm on the Dex screener. So you can look it up, dexscreener.com. Make sure you go to your ecosystem that you're looking for, like CRONOS, and you're going to want to look at the liquidity of a lot of these projects before you buy in. Be very careful. Let's just look real quick. So you see how I clicked up this project right here, XVVS, is a scam. It's up 900%. Look at the liquidity, $58. So what they do is they'll make it look like it's going crazy and it's shooting up, and people will buy in. And these people that run, it's one person, I guarantee, that's running this project. And what they'll do is right when they can literally, you can, on all this, you can see the transactions that are coming in and coming out, and they'll wait for someone to buy in, even if it's a few $100s, and they just pull the liquidity, and they do it over and over and over and over again. So you guys don't want to be part of that. So don't fall into any of that stuff. Make sure you're checking out your projects. Make sure that they're legit. Make sure that they have liquidity. You want to see at least $20,000, $30,000. These scammers don't have the money to put in to that. Usually, they usually will put in like a couple thousand, and then, like I said, it's just a trap. So be careful out there. If you haven't already, I will make sure to cover DeFi like crazy whenever we start getting into this bull run. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. It helps me out, obviously, but you guys get instant alerts whenever I do post videos. And make sure you hit this like button so we can kind of send this MMF into the algorithm gods, and people can start remembering that MMF was a big thing back in the bull market, and we're going to be real big whenever this next bull market explodes. So other than that, guys, thank you so much. Stay warm out there. See ya.